Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Magical Explainer. We're traveling way back in time today to a truly beautiful kingdom. Picture rolling green hills and perfectly sparkling blue rivers. Okay, let's dive into this amazing story. It's called The King and the Wisdom of Waiting. But before we actually meet our king, I've got a quick question for you. Do you like waiting? Really think about it. Is it super hard waiting for your birthday, or maybe waiting in line for your turn on the slide? Waiting can feel really tough, right? Well, if you feel that way, you're definitely not alone. So, let's meet King Alden. Now, he ruled a wonderfully rich kingdom. His people were happy, and his palace was completely filled with shiny gold and treasures. But he had one big, very relatable weakness. He had a severe case of impatience. He absolutely hated waiting for anything. If a builder needed a month to build a bridge, the king wanted it done in days. If he planted a tree, he expected it to grow apples literally overnight. And when his wise ministers tried to gently tell him, that good things take time, he completely refused to listen. Just imagine him stomping his foot and yelling, "Time is for the weak. I am king. I should not have to wait." He really thought that just because he was in charge, he could boss time around. Crazy, right?
Well, as it turns out, nature doesn't really listen to grumpy kings. One spring, the dark rain clouds just stopped showing up. Weeks passed, then months passed, still no rain. Those sparkling rivers we talked about, they slowly shrank into muddy little puddles. The soft soil got dry and cracked under the hot sun. A terrible drought had hit the kingdom.
And the king? He was furious that the rain was making him wait. He actually rode out to the farmlands, found the worried farmers, and yelled at them to just fix it. When one polite farmer tried to explain that crops need water and time to grow, the king just shouted, "Then grow them faster." Being impatient can make us act pretty silly sometimes. You can't exactly yell at a plant to grow without water, can you?
Which brings us to Section 1, The Wise Traveler's Advice.
So, just when things were looking absolutely hopeless, someone new arrived at the palace. It was an old traveler in simple robes, carrying a wooden staff. Now he looked poor, but his eyes showed this deep, calm wisdom. The king eagerly asked if he brought rain. The old man said no, but he did bring advice. He looked right at the angry king and said, "Some blessings cannot be rushed. A seed grows beneath the soil long before anyone sees it." And this brilliantly illustrates a really special secret about nature. A tiny seed is doing incredibly hard work underground, in the dark, long before it ever sprouts green leaves.
The traveler gently explained that rivers fill up just one single drop at a time. But did the king listen? Nope. He laughed at the old man and sent him packing. Instead of waiting, the king decided he was going to force things to happen. He ordered his workers to dig giant water canals across the entire kingdom in just one single week. Literally 1 week. That was way, way too fast. And here's the thing. Rushing out of fear and anger usually makes things so much worse. Because they hurried, the giant canals just collapsed before they were even finished. Because he couldn't wait, he made farmers harvest their crops way too early, which meant the food was unripe and totally ruined. He rushed repairs on the water reservoirs, and they broke. They lost the precious little water they had left. And the absolute saddest part? Because of all these rushed mistakes, the people went hungry. So I want you to stop and really think about it for a second. Was the king right to rush? Did going super fast and yelling at everybody actually solve any of the kingdom's problems? Or did his impatience just create a whole bunch of brand new problems? Let's move to Section 2, A Change of Heart.
People were scared, they were frustrated, and for the very first time, they blamed the king's impatience. That night, King Alden couldn't sleep at all. He put on a disguise so no one would recognize him, and he sneaked out into the quiet town. And wow, what he saw changed him. He saw a mother giving her absolute last tiny piece of bread to her hungry child. He saw farmers staring sadly at their empty, dusty fields. Seeing his people hurting like that finally melted his stubborn heart. As the sun started to rise, the crying king sat down beneath an old tree. And guess what? The wise traveler was there waiting for him. The old man gently explained that while the drought wasn't the king's fault, his impatience had made everyone's suffering worse. Then he gave him this amazing advice. When fear controls us, we rush. When wisdom guides us, we prepare.
The king wiped his tears, marched back to the palace, and completely changed the way he ruled. He put a brand new plan into action. And he didn't just sit around twiddling his thumbs. Nope, he did the right things while he waited. Step 1, he carefully made plans to conserve their water. Step 2, he made sure to share all the palace food fairly with everyone. Step 3, he threw his support behind the farmers. And Step 4, he took the proper time to repair those water reservoirs carefully, doing it right this time.
Month after month went by. And yeah, it was hard work. Sometimes the king still got that itchy feeling of frustration and kind of wanted to rush things again. But whenever he felt impatient, he'd look down at the ground and remember the traveler's wisdom. A seed grows beneath the soil. He just reminded himself that even if he couldn't see the rain yet, their hard work and careful preparation were exactly like that little seed, growing safely in the dark.
And then, one evening, everyone looked up at the sky in total amazement. Dark clouds were gathering. A cool wind swept through the kingdom. Thunder rumbled. And then, the rain returned. First, it was just a few drops, then a gentle shower, and finally a glorious splashing downpour. Oh, you should have seen it. The people danced and laughed in the puddles. The crops came back to life, and the kingdom was officially saved.
This brings us to Section 3, The Secret of Patience.
The kingdom flourished beautifully once again, and as the years went by, King Alden completely transformed. Nobody called him the impatient king anymore. Instead, he became known as the wise king. In fact, visitors would travel from way across the world just to meet him and ask how he made his kingdom so wonderful. He would always just smile and share his big secret. Patience is not doing nothing. Patience is doing the right thing while trusting that good results take time.
So for all of you joining this explainer today, here is the true definition of patience. Patience is the ability to keep faith, wisdom, and hope while waiting. It means that when you're stuck waiting for something, you don't just get mad or throw a fit or give up. You stay hopeful, you make wise choices, and you trust the process.
And that pretty much wraps up our story. But before we go, I want to leave you with one final super important question. What are you going to practice being patient for today? Maybe it's waiting for your turn in a game, or waiting to get better at a new skill, or maybe just waiting for a real seed you planted to grow. Whatever it is, remember the wise king, remember that hidden seed, and remember that some of the absolute best things in life are always worth waiting for.